Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and don't tell anybody, but I can run a little bit early. Welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off. And yes, it was a really fucking slow news week. So it's kind of another episode of Talk Nerdy to Me, where you guys kind of run the show here a little bit and tell me what the hell you're watching and stuff like that. And I've also got an announcement of a new show that's going to happen tomorrow, too. So let me take care of some business first and we'll get down to it. And then probably people will start trickling in. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops by the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library, pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Also, I have the links to this channel, my YouTube channel, my Facebook page. And for those of you who still have Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So I literally have 4 news items. That is it. That's it. I mean, there's other stuff that's out there, but it's mainly like rumors and whatnot. And quite honestly, it was all boring shit anyway. It's all squabbles and whatnot. So I'll get started though on one of them at least. And August 12th, we got a new trailer, a teaser trailer, I guess. Yeah, for season 3 of Titans, which is coming to HBO Max, by the way. So the first 3 episodes are going to drop on the 12th of August. Then after that, they're going to drop every Thursday thereafter, one after the other. So that means, you know what that means, obviously, of course, right? A lot more dick jokes. That's right. Dick jokes are going to abound because Dick Grayson. So there's a lot of dick jokes that are going to happen. It looks like we're going to be going through the whole death in the family storyline, and Jason Todd becoming, the Red Hood and blah, 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 blah. They cast somebody as the Joker. They cast somebody as Barbara Gordon. So we've got Barbara Gordon in the wheelchair. They're in Gotham this time. They also cast the Scarecrow, which I saw the pictures for the Scarecrow and I'm like, okay, we'll see how. So I never get my hopes up with Titans. I learned my lesson after the first 2 seasons. It looks like it's going to be promising, and then of course it fucking just dashes any expectations of that on the rocks, and then takes those rocks and throws them into the dumpster, lights them on gasoline, puts that on top of a train, which it then crashes into another train over a bridge that collapses into the ocean. And that's usually where the hopes and dreams of that series goes. So, and it's mainly because of the writing. Akiva Goldsman always comes in and has to fuck things up. He's one of the executive producers of it. So, yeah. So what are you guys watching out there? Anything? Anybody here? I see there's 3 people that are here. Anyone want to talk? I have been watching, I've said this before, on one of my other reviews here. There's a show on Amazon Prime called Documental, and it's a Japanese show. It's actually run by Matsumoro, who is a famous comedian in Japan. He's a big comedian. He did one of my favorite movies. It's called Big Man Japan, and it's about the kaiju, stuff, and it's like a documentary in a way, and he stars in it. To me, it's one of the fucking funniest movies I've seen in a long time. A lot of people don't like it. It's Japanese humor. Japanese humor is a bit weird. If you think British humor is weird, Japanese humor is even weirder to us Americans. And it's not like Canadian humor. Canadian humor is no one understands that shit. I kid. Only the Canadians understand it. But yeah, it's so Documental is essentially a game show. Matsumoro actually hosts a game show in Japan as well. And this one he came up with, and he said, okay, I'm going to take 10 comedians, 10 Japanese comedians. Each one of them brings 1 million yen, which is about $10,000 in US dollars. And they pull it together. So you get 10 million yen, and they get put into a room for 6 hours. Anything goes. You can do whatever you want to the other person to make them laugh. And you have to make the other comedians laugh. Now, whoever laughs, of course, you get basically three cards, if you will. If you think of soccer, he actually holds up a yellow card, orange card, and a red card. If you get a red card, you're out. Whoever's left gets the 10 million yen, $100,000. Nothing to sneeze at for 6 hours worth of work. And it's probably one of the most twisted shows I've seen in a long time, but also one of those shows that I look at and I'm like, why hasn't the US done something like, why hasn't Amazon adopted this for the US? Why haven't they taken American comedians or Canadian comedians or whatever and thrown them in a room and do this? Basically, you take some pretty famous comedians and you say, okay, bring in $10,000, pull it all together, and whoever, put your money where your mouth is. I want to see who's the funniest here, and anything goes, kind of thing. And I mean, they get naked. There's, there's all kinds of shit that happens in this thing. There's 4 seasons of it on Amazon. I'm in season 2 right now, and he kind of did this as an experiment. So season 1 was the first one where he was trying to figure things out. Season 2, he actually refined it a little bit more. So there's no stalemate in it, where you have no winner, which is you can happen. So can you gas the room with nitrous oxide if you brought it with you, Raymond? Yes, you can. You can bring you're allowed to bring a bag of props with you as well. There's one dude, it's kind of funny because everyone's like coming in with backpacks and like big duffel bags and whatnot, and this one dude just brings in this little tiny bag, and that's it. That's all he brings in with him is a little tiny bag and his money, and it's fucking funny. It really is. And the weird thing about it too is, so even with Japanese comedians, it's kind of a throwback almost to the 50s if you think about United States comedy. They have hierarchies within there. So they call people seniors and juniors. So you don't do something to your senior, but you can direct your juniors to do things as well. It's a really weird, and I mean, I know it's based on the society, but it's just a weird shitstorm of a show. It really is. And it's fascinating, Penn. It really is. They're 1 hour episodes, and I believe the first season's only like 6 episodes, something like that. So I mean, it's something that I'll throw on. And by the way, it's all subtitled. So I will, if you're gonna watch it, I'm gonna preface that right now. If you can't stand subtitles, there's no English dub version, which is fine. And I mean, Matsumoro is he's actually overseeing all of this. He's in another room watching all the cameras, and he's got a big button that he hits whenever someone laughs. And the thing is, you can't smile, you can't guffaw or anything like that. That's considered a laugh at that point. So yeah, it's one of those things that everyone's trying to cover it up, and you see people like trying to hold it in and everything. And that's the funniest thing is when you see someone about to lose their shit and they're holding it in, and then someone else, another comedian will see them, and then they will lose their shit because of that. And they're the ones that starts laughing. And then when the alarm goes off, you can start laughing. So yeah. Hey, Stanley. So yeah, it's a very weird game show in twisted Japanese fashion that it is, but yeah, yeah. I think it came across my Amazon Prime as something they recommended it to me, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. What the hell? And I didn't realize who the showrunner was until they said also by, and they showed Big Man Japan, and it was because I had watched Big Man Japan for Is It Worth My Time on Amazon Prime that they hooked this into me. That's why. So which I'm glad they did because it's weird. It's weird, but it's fun at the same time. But I could totally see an American version of this and it would just be really fucking funny. Stanley says, not my cup of tea, I assume, but I'm happy you have something you like. I don't know. It might lose its translation, Stanley. I know you're already kind of translating as it is from one language to the other, then translating. The humor, like I said, is way out there. If you I kind of understand Japanese humor in some respects, but not obviously I don't know it because I'm not immersed in the culture or anything like that. But I'm familiar with it, I should say. I'm familiar with Japanese humor. Yeah. Just like I am familiar with British humor. No one understands Canadian humor, though, like I said. It just doesn't make any sense to anybody except for Canadians. Uh, hey, here's some good news. Manifest has been canceled after 3 seasons on NBC. I don't know anyone who actually watched that show, to tell you the truth. Um, ugh. And I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that Manifest lasted 3 seasons on NBC. It just seemed like a low rent version of Lost, is really what it seemed like to me. But I don't know. I know no one who actually watched that show. No one who watched that show. Stanley says, I just know that good German humor is very hard to translate. So says you. Stanley says that most of it is not that good. Yeah. Joker says it's the number one show on Netflix now. Really? Manifest is? There's going to be a lot of pissed off people then. You never put a sci-fi show on NBC. You never put a sci-fi show on NBC or sci-fi. Sci-fi, excuse me. You never do. Not if you wanted to survive. I mean, quite honestly, I would produce it. I would try and produce it myself before I'd bring it to NBC and sci-fi. That's how bad they are. Yeah. They suck at promoting sci-fi. They move shit around. Unless you have CSI Ganymede or something like that in the title, it won't fly. Oh, excuse me. CSI is CBS. That's what it is. So, yeah, unless you have CSI Star Trek in there, that works at CBS. What is it? Grey's Anatomy Ganymede. That's what will work on NBC. Yeah. Chicago Hope Ganymede or Chicago Hope Jupiter. Stanley says, I've seen 2 episodes of the Netflix show Katla. What is Katla? I've never heard of Katla. Is that about cats in LA or Katla? So I am going to tell you guys, and I mentioned this last night on the Star Wars the Bad Batch review last night. Good God, my brain just went weep. I'm going to be doing a new show or a new segment on Sundays called Spoiler Alert, because I know some of you guys like talking about spoilers and stuff like that about shows. Well, that's where you're going to do it. Is on Sundays. It's a free for all of spoilers. You can spoil away on shows on Sunday. So I don't know what time I'm doing it tomorrow, but it'll be tomorrow at some point in time. Yeah. Stanley says Icelandic show about a volcano with supernatural elements. Okay. I still want to see season 2 of Beforeigner. I know they're working on it right now because season 1 was actually really good. I know it's not Icelandic, but it reminded me of Norwegian. So the Norwegian show Beforeigner is just really damn good. Penn says look like the returned less revenants or whatever those shows were. Are you talking about Katla? Okay. Episode 1, No, I Am Your Father. Yeah, the return was the English language remake. Yeah. I couldn't get into either one. I tried watching I know when the return came on, I watched like the first 3 episodes. I'm like, this is boring. And I go, I know there's original out there, so I tried watching the original, and that was even more boring to me, so I stopped. You liked Beforeigners, Penn? Did you watch? You watched it? Yeah. Beforeigners was just fun, and also just the whole mystery thing of them trying to solve a murder and then figuring out, the whole thing about the time travel and yeah, it was just all mixed in so well and so written together and woven together so well, along with just all these different time periods of people that are all trying to live together in 21st century Oslo. It worked. I don't know how, but it worked. If it had been here in the United States, that would have been totally fucked up and not. Yeah, of course, it would have been on NBC and it would have gotten canceled after 3 episodes. Katla is very glacial. He'll be here all week, folks. Remember to tip your waitresses and try the fish. Stanley. I'm surprised you actually channeled a little bit of Apple Crow in that one. Speaking of which, where's Morks? Raymond K. Hessel says, did I make this up? But wasn't there a live action Wreck-It Ralph that came out with Reynolds? No, but there is a movie that he's going to be doing that's coming out, I want to say next month, called Free Guy, where he is in a video game and he's one of the background characters, like GTA, Grand Theft Auto. He's one of the background characters that you normally abuse or something like that. And he gains sentience, I guess you will, and hooks up with a player that's in the real world and starts, an NPC, yes, if you want to get into the vernacular of it all, Stanley. Yeah. Yeah, that one's been in the can since like last year. And they're finally releasing it. It was supposed to come out right before the pandemic hit. Or right. So the pandemic hit and it was supposed to come out after the pandemic hit. So I should say that summer. Raymond says, that's the one. Okay, I'm not crazy. Well, for that reason. Don't sell yourself short there, Raymond. What else I got here? This one is in one of those files that I just can't make up. July 16th, the movie Pig hits theaters. Pig stars Nicolas Cage as a truffle farmer whose truffle pig is kidnapped, and he goes to the big city in search of it, a la John Wick. Oh, like I said, I can't make this shit up. I really can't. That Nicolas Cage is making these off the wall fucking movies that you're just going. Yeah, it's a real movie, Pen. There's a trailer for it and everything. I have it up on my Facebook page, and yeah, it's some dude living out in the forest with a truffle pig. He's only got one pig. The pig, finds truffles and he gets knocked out or something, and the pig's gone. And so he ends up going into Portland because it takes place in Oregon to go and search for the pig. And then, where's my pig? Who's got my pig? Nicholas Cage. I'm just like, fuck me. This is just really stupid. Oh, Raymond said, I can't tell if Nick Cage is a genius or not. Yeah. Ben's I watched the trailer and I still can't believe it. Yeah, I I don't know what to make of it, honestly. How that got funded, I have no idea. Oh, actually, I do know how it got funded. He produced it. He was one of the producers of it. Oh man. And Alan Arkin's son is in it as well, and I think he's also one of the co-producers of this. It's fucking just weird. Uh, Stanley says, funny thing about Katla is my niece just sent me a video of flowing lava from her vacation on Iceland. Uh, yeah, exactly, Penn. The whole movie is taken seriously. It's not done as a parody or yeah, or anything like that. It's not tongue in cheek, nothing like that. It's actually all taken seriously. Um, I'll give it a go when it comes out on Amazon Prime or Netflix or something like that. I'm not going to pay money for it though. I already made that mistake where I paid the $3, I think it was, for jujitsu, and then it pissed me off because like a week later it was for free on Netflix. And jujitsu was another Nick Cage movie where you're just kind of going, "Fuck me, why did this get made?" Yeah, I just want my rug pig back now. Well, or my car back. I want to get revenge on the little Russian scumbag who killed my puppy, the puppy that was given to me by my dead wife. Yeah. Raymond says, "Do you think he's self-aware and he does this to make us?" Yeah, he does. He's totally self-aware of this. There is the Netflix series that he is actually hosting about and I can't remember if it's out yet or not. I forgot all about this, but it's supposed to be the origin of the word fuck, if I remember correctly, or how it's used. It's the origin of swearing. Uh, like, different swear words and stuff like that. And I can't remember if I watched it or not, or I know it's out there on Netflix. Uh, it might be swear words. It might be. I don't think it's called that. I want to say that fuck is in the title, and they just kind of have it with the asterisks in there. Yeah, the history of curse words. That's it. The history of curse words. I mean, he's doing all of this in order to pay back the IRS. So I'm fairly sure he's just doing as much shit as possible to get as much money in as possible so he can pay the IRS back. He owed like $50 million or something like that in taxes. I might have watched it already. I can't remember if I did or not. It might have been a fever dream. I don't remember. Yeah. But that does seem like something I would watch. I say that as I have uh, that one there, The Vulgar Tongue. I've got it within reach. Yeah, there we go. It's called The Vulgar Tongue. And this one is Buckish Slang and Pickpocket Eloquence, Francis Gross. So this is a real book that was written in the 1700s, I want to say. Yeah, somewhere around the 1700s, and it has a whole bunch of pirate slang in it. Is what this is, and it was supposed to be for the discriminating gentlemen who wanted to get along in a rough society, if you will. And so yeah, some of the expert excerpts in this. Let me see here. I'll find a word for you. Louse, a gentleman's companion. He will never louse a gray head of his own. He will never live to be old. So these are some of the definitions, and they're literally just definitions. Here we go. Starter, one who leaves a jolly company, a milksop. He is no starter. He will sit longer than a hen. Let me see what else we got here. Whopper-eyed, sore-eyed, wag, an arch frolicsome fellow. I mean, there's just all kinds of weird shit. All Old Roger is the devil. That's what Old Roger is. Owl, owl. To catch the owl, a trick practiced upon ignorant country boobies who are decoyed into a barn under pretense of catching an owl, where after divers preliminaries, the joke ends in their having a pail of water poured upon their heads. So this is shit that actually happened in the 1700s. This is all this kind of weird shit. And yes, I did buy this. What the hell? I bought this, I think, at Barnes and Nobles. Every now and then I'll go through, a random Barnes and Nobles, and you know how they have that discount bin at the front with all the weird books and stuff like that. And I look for weird shit like this. That's the reason why I go through there, is to see the weird shit that they have that no one's buying. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting, and I'll buy it. Ooh. I mean, that's where I got my Drinkology book too, which is, as a former bartender, I need to find out what kind of shit they had on there. Oh yeah, of course I am prepared for time travel. You need to know what's going to happen if you ever go through a vortex or something like that. Of course, I'm not prepared for the history, for the future portion. Thank you, Raymond. You don't need to do that for me, but thank you for it's appreciated. Stanley says Nick Cage to the curse word show. Wouldn't Sam Jackson be better for it? Sam Jackson is still making money in his movie, Stanley. Nick Cage is not. So you do what you need to do in order to make money and make the IRS happy. Yeah. Okay, so I did watch it. Okay, Penn. I couldn't remember. That must have just went through my brain and was out. I never know which timeline I'm in and which one I've actually watched it or not. And I need to be remembered of these things. It's the multiverse after all. You never know which one it is. This is the fucked up one, right? Where there is some orange asshole that was yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah. This is the fucked up timeline. Couldn't remember which one it was. All right, what else we got here? The last thing I've got for you, like I said, there really wasn't much. Grant Gustin's, the CW version of The Flash, is going to cameo in Ezra Miller's version of The Flash, that movie. I don't know if you saw the Crisis of Infinite Earths thing on the CW, but Ezra Miller's Flash ended up cameoing on that. It was kind of cool. It was a little, a wink, wink, nudge. So they're doing the same thing in the movie. The movie, Grant Gustin's Flash is going to show up there. Yeah, Grant's is better. Although not lately. Excuse me. Not lately. It hasn't been. It's been all stuck on certain plot points that just need to be forgotten and move on. Penn says each episode focused on a specific word, gave the history and change. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember now. Well, you have the goatee. This must be the evil timeline. No, it's actually backwards for me, Raymond. The goatee is actually good. No goatee is the evil person. Isn't that what the evil person would say anyway? But you would never know. Sheldon on the Big Bang was possibly a better Flash. Yeah. Than Ezra Miller's. Yeah, I agree with that. Stanley says I watched Barbarian and the Troll just to throw something idiotic into the ring. I've never heard Barbarian and the Troll. So I am going to be covering. There's a Cartoon Network series called The Infinite Train. The Infinite Train. It's on HBO Max right now. They're 11-minute. Literally every episode is 11 minutes and 17 seconds long. Yeah. And I want to say there's like 10 episodes per season. And so I've been watching that, and that's fairly interesting. And really what it's about a girl who gets on a train, and turns out that the train, each car leads to a different world, and you have to go through each car in order to. She's trying to get off the train, but she can't. The train is traveling through a different world itself, so she's trying to get to the conductor, which is at the top of the head of the car, and each car, like I said, has a different world that you have to go through, or puzzles that you need to solve in order to get through the door of the car. And yeah, it's pretty fucked up, but also it's interesting. I do like what is it? Episode 3 is called the Corgi car, and yes, it has a world populated by talking corgis. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, I'll be covering that on Tuesday. Hmm. The Infinite Train is what it's called. The Infinite. See how I'm doing the infinity symbol there? Raymond says, "Why 1117? Are they referencing the Golden Race? They might be. I don't know. It could be OCD on the creator's part. Owen Dennis is the name of the creator. He also voices one of the characters in there too. So, is it related to Snowpiercer? No, it's not. That would be kind of dark if it was. Uh, yeah. It's on HBO Max, Pen. Yeah, if you go into the animated section, if you go into the Cartoon Network section, I believe it's in there. I think I found it by what was I looking for? I was looking for action, is what I was looking for. I was looking for action, and then saw that. I'm like, what the hell's this? And I clicked on it. I'm like, all right, I'll give the first episode. And I saw it was only 11 minutes long, so I watched the first episode. And I'm like, all right, I'll see where this goes. And I'm always a sucker for animation. I was actually watching Raya and the Last Dragon last night, but I started it way too late. So I'm about halfway through. I need to finish the other half. I like it so far. I mean, the animation in it is gorgeous. It's probably the best animation I've seen from Pixar in a long time. A long, long, long time. And just the character design, the set design, and the animation is so smooth on Raya and the Last Dragon. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen this kind of animation in a long time. Whoever they had working on this is top of their game at this point. So I'm trying to think of what else I'm looking at. Every now and then I'll delve into some stuff here and there. Oh yeah, Kubo and the Two Strings. It's up there someplace. Actually, I see it. It's at the top. It's above the Mickey ears, actually. Um, it's actually above Mr. Fantastic right here. It's literally right there. Is where Kubo and the Two Strings is. I have it on 4K. And Kubo and the Two Strings is a great movie, but it's depressing as fuck too. But it's a beautifully done story. And that, of course, is Leica animation. Leica is like second to Pixar, really, in my book, and they're so close. Stanley says, "I heard Raya has even better animation than the new Ratchet and Clank game." Um, Ratchet and Clank is okay. I'm not playing the new game. I don't know what the new game looks like, but Raya is just like beautiful. I'm watching it on 4K, and of course, it's streaming in 4K. I have the Dolby Atmos thing going and everything, and yeah, it is. You have separation of layers there, so you look like you're watching an actual movie, even though the characters are stylized, cartoon wise in a way. So yeah, more rich people should spend their money on animation studios. No shit. Then they can get bought out by Disney and do nothing but become more of a slave to the mouse. Detail, the amount of detail in the smoke monster. Yeah, the amount of funny story, and I'm fairly sure he's involved in this. One of my teachers when I was doing animation, he if you go and take a look at Finding Nemo, his name is in the credits like 7 or 8 times. So he does what's called special effects animation. So you'll have like the particles that are suspended in the water in Finding Nemo, that's him. He actually developed an algorithm to get those particles suspended in seawater that you see whenever you go into the ocean. So when you start looking at Finding Nemo again, you'll see that the particle layers actually, differentiate as you look, into your depth. Um, the sand moving around when they're escaping from the anglerfish with the mask, the diver's mask down at the bottom of the ocean, that's him as well. So all of that. So he was my teacher for special effects, 3D special effects animation, and yeah, he was awesome. I mean, the dude was so approachable. He was very precise in how he taught people, so it was easy to understand. He was probably one of my best teachers there. And honestly, I can't remember his name right now. If I looked it up in the credits again, I would know who he is. So, and it's been over 10 years. So yeah, it's been longer than that actually. Yeah, it has. Maya. We were using Maya for that, Raymond. Everyone was using Maya back then. They still do for the most part. I mean, there's other stuff that people use now too, but I've been out of that whole thing for, quite a long time now, so I don't know what everyone uses now. I know Mudbox is used for modeling still. Um, there's other stuff too that's been used, but yeah. I'd have to ask people that I know that are still in animation what people are using now. I haven't kept up with it, honestly. I stick now mainly to 2D stuff, painting, and every now and then I'll dabble in. I haven't done anything in a while, like a long while. I'll have to admit. It's just mainly because I'm busy. I mean, I'm doing this. I'm also working. My day job, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just don't have enough time to do that. I mean, I should even be working out too at that point. So, do you have some of your work saved that you're I do have work, like 2D work, or are you talking about 3D work? Like I animated what was it? I animated 2 scenes from, like 3D scenes, or not 3D. One's a 3D animated scene, another one is a 2D animated scene, for 2 classes, 2 different classes, where they were group projects, and then, my demo reel I ended up animating like a really short little it's actually Bruce Campbell from Jack of All Trades. I don't know if you remember that show that he was in, Jack of All Trades. We had to take one line and we had to animate it to a character. And the line that I used was poker. I hardly even know her, and he starts laughing. And it's Bruce Campbell, of course. So it's a random uh character that we could use for animation sitting behind a poker table, and he's got some cards in his hand and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, and he just starts laughing. And I had some like 2D stuff up on Deviant Art up there. Yeah, exactly, right after Briscoe. Exactly, Penn. Jack of All Trades was one of my favorites too. Troy Werner as Napoleon, which was just hilarious because you always talk about Napoleon being short, and then they just basically just went like the complete absolute shortest they could go with Troy Werner, who unfortunately passed away. He drank himself to death. Poor guy. Yeah. Raymond said, I thought DeviantArt was for hentai. It's turned into that, Raymond, but back in the day, It used to be for artists, like serious artists. So I still have my old accounts up there. Yeah. I don't know what people use now to show off artwork or whatnot. But yeah, back in the day, DeviantArt actually used to be like really kick ass. And I'm talking over 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, where you post your artwork up there, you'd send that out as your portfolio. You were able to do portfolios. They had a presence at Comic Con, basically all the cons out there. They had their own branded material. So like I actually have backpacks from them that are really good art backpacks. Like you can fit portfolios in them and stuff like that to bring around. They're padded and they actually hold up. They don't rip apart and shit like that, like some other companies do. The only other backpack that I found that holds up just as well as theirs did was from Timbuktu, excuse me. That is a San Francisco company that was started by messenger bicyclists because they needed bags that were sturdy enough to go through all the shit that they go through. And I don't get paid by any of those guys, by the way. So yeah, they're very expensive bags, by the way. I'll just say that. But they hold up really, really well, and they usually have a lifetime warranty, which you have to jump through some hoops in order to get your stuff fixed anyway, if you have the lifetime warranty or not. Yeah. Yeah, but if you're looking on DeviantArt, I believe my handle on there was Scribbles Dark Side, something like that. Honestly, it was really hard to find a name on there because everything else was fucking taken. I don't remember if it's all one word or if there was an underscore between Scribbles and Dark Side. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I've got a few things up there of 2D stuff. My 3D stuff, no. I do have them on hard drive someplace around here. Yeah. Someplace around here. It's probably in one of the boxes or something like that. Yeah, one of the final projects that I was working on in school in order to graduate, we had to work on a 3D movie that we were doing. And so it was kind of a lame project, honestly. Uh, it's supposed to be this couple that are looking for the TV remote in the couch. And so they're pulling everything else but the TV remote out of the couch, like all kinds of weird shit. And the only thing that was cool about it was the people that we got to do the voice work for it. Somebody knew somebody who was on The Office. It was I want to say it was the intern. I can't remember his name now. Uh, and it's not Chris Pratt. And so he was the one who voices. He did the voiceover work, so we had to match all our stuff up to him. But I did one scene where he's pulling, like the guy is pulling some kind of blanket or something out of the couch and falls back and hits the ground and bounces. We all had different scenes that we had to do. So that was mine. I was also the file wrangler and all kinds of shit like that. So my favorite one though that never got finished was a 2D animation one where we had what was it? It was Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, and Elvis, if I remember correctly, were all well, that was the end of it, if I remember correctly. So the jackalope, it had to do something with the jackalope, the Chupacabra, Bigfoot, and Elvis, and it was a road trip kind of thing. And I had some mutant jelly beans that I had to animate. So I had like 3-headed jelly beans that are rocking back and forth, and their heads are doing the kind of, the pendulum that you have with the swinging balls that are bouncing back and forth. I had that only in reverse, like up top with the three heads, and they're rocking back and forth, and they're like moaning and singing. One jelly bean's cut in half, and he's on like a little board with wheels on it, and he's using weights in order to move himself around. And what was the other? Uh, there's another mutant jelly bean. I can't remember which one it was, but it was some pretty fucked up stuff. So I did that as one of my 2D animations. That was one of my favorite ones, just because I was actually able to make up the jelly bean characters, and yeah, and go as far out there as I wanted to. Actually, I could have gone farther, but Stanley says I always found Elvis a little far fetched. Um, my so another 2D animation that I did is for another class. Um, so we're always working on timing, right, in the animation, and especially when you're getting started, you're trying to sync things up. So I did a horse run, where you have the horses running, and um, I again used some dialogue from Army of Darkness, uh, and it's the King Arthur, when he's asking, "Are all loudmouth braggarts are all men from the future loudmouth braggarts?" And then, of course, Bruce Campbell says, "Nope, just me, baby, just me." That segment right there. So I've got the horse run, and it's Elvis riding a horse. He actually comes through a time portal riding a horse. He comes up to a dragon, and the dragon is the one that asks him that question. And of course, Elvis is the one that says, "Nope, just me, baby, just me." So I animated that entire sequence. It's not in color, but it's black and white. And that one came out fairly well. That's just one of the fun things I did. Yeah. It was kind of funny too. Another one of my teachers, one of my animation teachers. So this guy was the guy who animated Yoda in episodes 2 and 3 of Star Wars. You don't touch Yoda unless George Lucas has his hand on your shoulder, right? Kind of thing. So that dude was amazing. We had to animate all these little clips. They would give us these little clips, and they go, "Okay, you animate something to it." And they tell us what we had to do in the animation, whether it needed to be like a head wipe or something like that, or some kind of weird thing that we had to do. And so one of them, it was it was just this weird character go "Ooh" kind of thing. And I had heard it so fucking much because the in our classroom, no one used the headphones when they were doing the timing of it. So it was over and over and over and over and over again. And I got to the point where it was stuck in my head on loop, and I couldn't get it out. So I didn't actually need a copy of the audio in order to animate it and time it out. And by the time I got the audio and I put it into my animation, it was spot on. And my teacher at the time, he's like, he goes, "You didn't spend that much time," because he noticed I didn't spend that much time on the machine doing it, and because there was a lot of people and we only had 2 machines, and I think one had broken down at one point. And he goes, "You didn't spend that much time on the machine." And I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "But I'd heard it so often it was stuck in my head, and I just animated it. I timed it out that way." And he looked at me, he's like, "No one really does that." And he goes, he was kind of impressed by it. And I said, "It was stuck in my head, man. I'm sorry. That's what happens." So, and I did Fat Elvis, by the way. I did Fat Elvis. Of course, you got to do Fat Elvis, man. I mean, Uh, I had his stomach, bobbing up and down as he was riding the horse, and also I had his little bouffant in the front that was bouncing up and down as well. So, and yes, it did. That was my inspiration, by the way. Stanley was Bubba Hotep, because yes, I am a Bruce Campbell fan. It's not that, Stanley. It's just it was literally stuck in my head. If I get something stuck in my head like that, it drives me nuts, and it'll just keep going, 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 to the point where I need to listen to it again once just to kind of get it out, or I need something else to drown it out. That's like, have you ever played that game with any friends of yours? You try and get the, like, earworm stuck in someone's head of a song, where you would sing a song and then you get it stuck in someone's head? We used to do this at work all the time, where, you know, you'd sing. We used to do this especially when we were catering because we were bored afterwards, and it was the easiest thing you could do while you were loading up the truck, at the end of the night. And we would sing something, and someone's like, "Fuck you," and then you'd sing something back, and they're like, "Oh man, fuck you," and then we just keep going. And I would always win because I would pick "My girl wants to party all the time," and then everyone's like, "Fuck you, you son of a bitch," because that was the song that everyone knew. And yeah, all you need to do is sing that just that little bit, and boom, it was in someone's head. That and the theme song to the old Wild Wild West TV show. All I needed to do was hum a couple of bars of that, and boom, it was there. I always used to hold that out until like half an hour in to us doing that. Then I go, "Have a good ride home. Bye." Uh, Penn says Bubba Hotep was so good. Yeah, I just rewatched it recently, like 2 months ago, and it does hold up. I mean, it's really good. It's really good. That didn't win any awards, was just fucking criminally bad. Yeah, Raymond, I have Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, but that doesn't do anything for me. I have that in my in my playlist of songs, like 400 and some odd songs. Stanley says, I can't remember any tune. Every time I try, people look at me puzzled and then don't recognize the tune. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, this is just something we used to do, like I said, to pass the time while we were, we talk about little shit here and there as we were, loading up the truck. Uh, but then, of course, it evolved into one-upmanship is what it would normally devolve into. Happens when you're catering. The closest thing I had come to it was there was a Ryan Reynolds movie called oh, he was a waiter. Fuck, I can't remember what it was called. Employee of the Month or something like that. I think is what it was called, where he worked at a restaurant. And the whole, kitchen staff in the back where they would do the whole, if you saw someone's ball, what's his name? Fuck, I can't remember his name. He was in oh he was in Boogie Nights too, and he's been in like shit tons of things. But he was doing it where, if you saw his balls or something like that, he would, get to punch you or something. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds was in this. It's like one of his early movies, and that whole thing is the closest to what really happens in back of the house, kitchens and catering stuff. That's what people do. They get bored of doing the same repetitive shit over and over and over again, so they invent their own games. It happens. It was called Waiting. There you go. Thank you, Raymond. See, I'm getting older, man, and shit is not sticking. Ding, it just bounces off. That's why I'm glad there's IMDb. So I don't have to remember that shit anymore. Oh, that's right. Employee of the Month was the department. That's right. That was the Costco movie with Dane Cook and Jessica Simpson. Oh, no. Yes, that's right. Dane Cook. Whatever happened to that motherfucker? Did he finally get called out on all the bad shit that he was doing? Did he finally go to prison? Stanley Tweedle says, not to kill the mood, but how did you like the last Superman and Lois episode? I can save that for tomorrow, Stanley, for the spoilers, the spoiler alert show. And I'll tell you all about that because yes, I did watch it, and I got some stuff to say about that one. Yeah, we'll save it for tomorrow. How about that, Stanley? Yeah, it was one of like it really was like one of Ryan Reynolds' early movies, like really early movies. Now I gotta look it up. There's people that were in that movie too, in Waiting. And of course, take forever for IMDb to load because that's the kind of shit that it is. 2005. Yeah, it was 2005 that movie came out, which doesn't seem that long ago, but yeah, it's over 10. Yeah, 15 years ago, 16 years ago now. God damn, man. Wow. Yeah, he's really young in that one. Anna Faris is in it. Justin Long is in it. Louise Guzman. There we go. Louise Guzman. Oh, man. David Ketchner's in it. Chi McBride. Uh, like I said, there is a lot of people. Dane Cook is even in this movie. That's right. Dane Cook plays the evil asshole in that movie, too. Um, what time tomorrow? I'm gonna try and shoot for like 11:30 as well. So I'm gonna try and take the dog out and walk her early because, or take her to the park early before it heats up here because it gets really fucking hot here right now. We're in a heat wave. We're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. Yeah. Raymond says the first movie I saw with Reynolds was Van Wilder. I think everyone that was the first movie they ever saw with Ryan Reynolds in it, or will admit to. Penn said, I thought Dane was very funny during the 15 minutes he was around. He was an asshole, from what I understand. And supposedly he was also a predator, from what I understand as well. And that's the reason why he's disappeared because of some of the stuff that he was doing. Allegedly. This is what this is all the stuff that goes around Hollywood and whatnot. Yes, Raymond Dane Cook did play himself. That was a lot of what a lot of people said in the reviews of that movie, if I remember correctly. Your first Ryan Reynolds movie was Wolverine Origins? Wow. At least it wasn't Green Lantern. No one should ever have to watch that movie. No one. I think he just watched it last year or earlier this year. That's what it was. He just watched it earlier this year for the first time. He had never seen the movie in its entirety and apologized profusely afterwards. He being Ryan Reynolds, he had never seen the entire movie. Wow. Considering that he met his wife on there, that's where he met his wife, and yeah. Sorry. I'm making all kinds of noise with my ice. Trying to get to the last little bit down there at the bottom. Yeah, I do too. Deadpool 2, in the credits where he goes in and starts, fixing up the timeline. Oh, that was good. Yeah. But no, that, yeah, Green Lantern was just a shitty movie all the way around. But, well, it was no Blade Trinity. Blade Trinity wasn't that bad compared to Green Lantern. At least it didn't have the screaming head in space thing. I remember when I first saw Green Lantern, I'm in the theater and I see the screaming head flying through space and I started laughing because it reminded me of what some kid in the 70s would have thought was cool to put on the side of a van. That's literally what it looked like. It looked like one of those old 70s, screaming skull through space van paintings. And I remember I laughed out loud in the theater. I was the only person who did. And everyone kind of looked at me because it was kind of ridiculous looking. And it just kind of went downhill from there. Just really did. Uh, Stanley says, no, Blade Trinity was my first Ryan Reynolds movie. My God, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that in the comic, though? The screaming head flying through space? I don't remember it, but it could have been. I mean, a lot of this stuff was written in the 70s too, so I always think of Otto from, The Simpsons. "My name is Otto, and I like to get blotto," and how he used to like to do his van up with or actually, he did the school bus with, like, flames on it and shit like that on the side. That's who I always think of whenever I see that image. It reminds me of Otto from, The Simpsons. Something that he would put on the side of the school bus or his van if he had enough money to do it when he wasn't smoking weed. Oh, man. Yeah. All right. It's about that time. I should probably let you guys go for the rest of the weekend. Well, not the rest of the weekend, I should say, until tomorrow. What else do I have going on the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow, probably around the same time here, around 11:30-ish, I'm going to do a new segment called Spoiler Alert, where you guys get to talk about whatever you want without any um spoiler restrictions on it or anything like that. You guys get to, that's what we're going to talk about. We can actually put spoilers anywhere in there. And the spoiler alert sign up there will be prominent, or the spoiler alert sign will be prominent someplace back in here. I'll put it back here someplace, whatnot. That'll be tomorrow. Like I said, around 11:30-ish. Sound good? Monday, I'm going to be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And I'm going to be talking about Infinity Train, which is on HBO Max, also on Cartoon Network. Wednesday will be Loki. A new episode of Loki. Thursday, I'm off. Friday will be Star Wars The Bad Batch. And then we roll back around to Saturday with Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. There we go. Excuse me. Yeah, well, Otto is a drug. He's not a drug addict, Raymond. He just likes to get high. Want to get high, kids? I could actually see Otto hanging out with Towley. Although Towley's much more of a hardcore drug addict than Otto. Otto just likes to get drunk or stoned. I don't think he touches the hard stuff though. Raymond says you're not worried we will spoil something for you. You might. I mean, unless the only thing don't want anyone spoiling for me is Black Widow. That's the only thing I don't want. That's why I haven't covered anytime I see someone with Black Widow, I just kind of steer around it and go around it. Yeah. All right. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithm of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of my videos, my fast food library, and pops it up there just for you. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next year, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, all the links to my social media are up there and all the links to my pages as well. Everything's there. And also, if you can, hit that subscribe button down there. Just click on it, And also, you can hit the like button and the share button as well, if you can, on your way out. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for spoiler alert. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may just want to have your girl party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, get those vaccine shots, wear those masks, and have a good night. Thanks, everybody. See you again tomorrow.